On this premiere edition of This Week in the NPSL, we will have highlights from 10 matches across the country. In New England, the reigning Golden Boot winner comes back to haunt his old team, while in Cleveland, the defending NPSL champions hosted their in-state rivals where both teams lit up the scoreboard. Out west, we will show you highlights from a Bay Area showdown, and in the south, two rivals kick off their NPSL season in the Crescent City. All that, plus scores, standings, and more of the action as This Week in the NPSL hits its groove next. Hello and welcome into our studios for the debut edition of This Week in the NPSL. I'm your host, Paul Boron. And from this moment until we crown a champion in August, we will be with you every week with highlights from throughout the league. And we have action this week from 10 matches, and that number will only grow as we get deeper into this exciting new venture. We will mix in occasional player features, as well as complete scores and standings for the 96 teams that comprise our league. So now that you know what the show is all about, let's get to it. And we will start in the Northeast, where Boston City FC hosted Rhode Island Reds FC. And these two are obviously already rivals, but now you throw in the intrigue of the reigning Golden Ball winner not only delighting his home crowd, but doing so against his old team. That makes for a fun match. In a battle of New England, it's the Reds that jump on top in the 13th minute. Ronaldinho Diaz, against the run of play, shoots from 25 yards out and beats Vitor Scariot at the far left post. It's 1-0. But these two teams were just getting started. 6 minutes later on the counter, Diaz is stopped this time, but Fabrice Dogby is there for the tap-in, and the Reds seem to be in control. But in the 25th minute, Jonathan Batista is taken down in the box, and Isaac Nena Adai would convert with the cool left foot for his first goal since joining Boston City. History repeats itself just 6 minutes later as Batista is again fouled in the box, and again Adai is able to score on the PK, this time to the opposite side, and we are level. Second half now, and the Reds' Fernando Baptista finds a hole in the Boston defense and fires inside the post to give Rhode Island the lead. But Boston City battles back again in the final stages on a free kick. Adai with the perfectly struck ball from 25 yards out. That's a hat trick and an entertaining 3-3 draw. Friendly action at Gillette Stadium as the Brooklyn Italians travel to face the New England Revolution U23s. The Revs get on the board as they convert on the PK to take the lead. But the Italians respond. Giuseppe Barone sets up Rasmus Hansen, and Hansen scores. Nice work by the two LIU Brooklyn teammates. In the second half, Joe Swenson finds Denron Frederick, and Frederick puts it home, but it's not enough as New England wins 4-2. Westchester United NPSL against Junior Lone Star, and great build-up here by United. Initial shot by Oscar Umar, and eventually Ben Murray crosses it to Joe Sales. He heads it in. It's 1-0. 40th minute, and this is all about a great effort by Jake Lister, who touches the ball over a defender, continues his run, takes it away from another defender, and buries it in the back of the net. A little icing on the cake. Max Crosswitz receives the ball and eventually gets it back, beats the defender for the goal. Westchester beats Lone Star 3-1. Other scores in the Northeast, Elm City Express gets 2 goals from Anthony Asante as they knock off New York Cosmos B, while Hartford City gets 2 goals in the final 10 minutes to beat Seacoast United Mariners. And Legacy 76 gets an 84th minute goal by Jeffrey Wolins to get a draw at home. So let's have a look at the standings in the Northeast, and we will start in the Keystone Conference with their victory against Junior Lone Star FC. Westchester United moves to the top of the standings. Everyone else kicks off this weekend. In the Mid-Atlantic Conference, Legacy 76 and Virginia Beach City FC each took home a point after their draw, while FC Frederick and Fredericksburg FC open their seasons this weekend. In the Atlantic Blue Conference, Elm City Express has taken the Express to the top with 2 wins, while Brooklyn and Greater Lowell each have 3 points. And in the Atlantic White, Hartford City sits just a point in front of Boston City after they knocked off Seacoast United Mariners in Hartford Saturday night. When we return to This Week in the NPSL, we head to the South, where the defending region champions head to the Big Easy to open conference play against their rivals, the New Orleans Jesters. Keep up to date on the NPSL with scores, stats, and exclusive content on NPSL.com. Visit our video match center and ticket platform at NPSL.com. So as you see, some of our teams advanced to this week's second round of the U.S. Open Cup, and we will tell you how they did next week. But one team that did not advance was Chattanooga FC, who fell 2-0 to the Charlotte Eagles in the first round last Wednesday. So that meant the defending South Region champions would head into the league opener with a little more of an edge. Not that they really needed it, facing their rivals to the south, the New Orleans Jesters. So who came out on top? Here are the highlights. Chattanooga and New Orleans are two big rivals in the Southeast, and on Saturday they renewed acquaintances with a nice contingent of Chattahooligans making the journey to the Crescent City. And they were rewarded early as Felipe Antonio finds a hole in the New Orleans back line, and he makes no mistake beating Chad Collins 1-0 Chattanooga. New Orleans looked to have the apparent equalizer just 7 minutes later, but John Evans was ruled just offside. New Orleans midfielder Keenan Armbrust left early in the first after a nasty fall, but he would return and he would make Chattanooga pay with a sneaky free kick that manages to find the far corner. Jesters keeper Chad Collins would make that result stand up with this terrific save in the 86th minute, and the two teams settle for a draw. They will meet again in Chattanooga on June 15th. In Birmingham, Inter Nashville comes to town, but near disaster for them in the 24th minute as the back pass isn't strong enough, but Hayden Kaufman comes up with a save. In the 51st minute, Birmingham gets on the board first. Alex Brown on the penalty kick, he converts, and the Hammers lead 1-0. 69th minute, Nashville breaks through off of the corner kick as Greg Warden scores. Hammers' last good chance is in the 83rd minute, but Kaufman makes the save to preserve the 1-1 draw. The Shreveport Raptors hosting the New Orleans Jesters in the first leg of the Louisiana Cup, and they are ready to go to work in their handyman jerseys. But it's the Jesters that get on the board first. Mason Maurice controls the ball off of the turf and beats Lance Quinney, but Quinney would have the last laugh in this one. Raptors answer. Jacob Cunningham slides the ball through the box, and Chi Walcott is there for the finish. We are tied at 1. But it was Quinney who was the hero of this one for Shreveport, making multiple big saves, including this one in the 87th minute, as he absolutely robs Maurice to preserve the 1-1 draw. 6 nights later, the Raptors win the Cup in PKs, and goalkeeping continues to be the story as Adam Williams makes the save to bring home the trophy. Elsewhere in the South, Atlanta plays back-to-back nights and gets 6 points out of it. Pretty solid stuff there. While Thomas Dealey gets 2 goals for Asheville City in their draw with Memphis, and Nicholas Doyle gets a pair for Little Rock in their draw with FC Wichita. Tulsa gets 3 goals from 3 different scorers for a road win, and Miami United FC gets 2 scores from David Santeria in their home win. So the Raptors' Louisiana Cup victory was certainly sweet for the visitors, but it didn't help them in the standings, and neither did their loss to Houston Regals SCA. And so Houston is tied for first with 3 points, along with Fort Worth in the Lone Star Conference. In the Heartland Conference, Little Rock Rangers have posted back-to-back draws, which puts them 1 point behind Tulsa Athletic, who defeated Ozark FC over the weekend. In the Sunshine Conference, Miami United FC is off to a blazing start with 3 straight victories. Miami Fusion FC, Craze United, and Jacksonville Armada U23s are all in with 3 points in second place. Finally, in the Southeast, which consists of 2 divisions, but these are the overall standings, with Atlanta leading the East and Birmingham leading the West. When we come back to the premiere edition of This Week in the NPSL, we will head to the Midwest, where we will look in on the defending NPSL champions, where the battle of OHIO certainly didn't end 0-0. All the action from a wild match between Dayton and Cleveland is next. This Week in the NPSL is presented by MITRE and by Pabian Law, by GlobalScarves.com, and by Staples. Welcome back to This Week in the NPSL. I'm your host, Paul Boron, and it's time to move on to the Midwest, where defending champions AFC Cleveland and the Dayton Dynamo finished on opposite ends of the spectrum last season. Dayton had just one win, finishing last in the Great Lakes West, while Cleveland won the league championship coming out of the Great Lakes East. Now in 2017, they are rivals in the East Conference, and if Saturday's showdown in Independence is any indication, things will certainly be interesting in that conference this season. Back and forth match between these two, with Cleveland scoring first as Chris Suvecko with space in the box, and he makes no mistake. Cleveland goes up 2-0 when Vinny Bell chips it in over the Dayton keeper, and he's celebrating before the ball even hits the back of the net. Dynamo answer in the second half, Tristan Lytle with a rocket, and it's 2-1. And then they equalize as they push the numbers forward, and Tate Robertson is able to poke it home. Cleveland would get a second goal from Suvecko as he is in the right spot to deflect it into the net for what is apparently the game winner. But Dayton has one more in them as Robertson gets his second of the night for a 3-3 draw. Detroit City FC hosting Milwaukee, and they get on the board first. Cyrus Sadie calmly slots one near post off of the pass from Roddy Green, and it's 1-0 for the home team. 68th minute, Milwaukee's Nemanja Medic scores from 20 yards out to give Milwaukee a 3-2 lead. But in stoppage time, Max Todd scores off the rebound to get Detroit City FC the draw. Elsewhere in the Midwest, lots of goals on Saturday night as multiple teams scored 3 and Med City scored 4. Ann Arbor moves to the top of the Great Lakes Conference with their win, while the Michigan Stars get a stoppage time goal from Kyle Thompson to salvage the draw. So that great match between those two now Great Lakes rivals sets up the conference standings like this, with both teams chasing Ann Arbor after they have posted back-to-back 2-goal victories to start the season, while Lansing United's victory over Milwaukee has them in solo second. In the East, just the one match has Dayton and Cleveland on top of the conference, and in the North, everyone has played one match, with Dakota Fusion FC and Med City FC each posting 3 points in the first week. We are not done yet. When we come back, we will check out highlights from the West, where a pair of undefeated teams did battle in a key Southwest Conference showdown. That's next. Keep up to date on the NPSL with scores, stats, and exclusive content on NPSL.com. Visit our video match center and ticket platform at NPSL.com. It's time to head out west for a pair of matchups, and we will start in the Golden Gate Conference, where CD Aguiluchos is in command of the conference, with everyone else giving chase. Two of those teams, East Bay FC and Napa Valley 1839 FC, squared off Saturday night. Stompers keeper Marcus Rojas just rejoined his team after finishing his career at St. Francis University, and he makes a big save in the 25th minute. Napa Valley opens the scoring in the 47th minute when Gabriel Borges slips past the East Bay defense and finishes with a pinpoint strike. Stompers respond in the 64th minute when Zano Mahic finds new teammate Graven Pacheco open in front of the net, and what a return for him as he rejoins the Stompers for the first time since 2014. And East Bay takes the lead for good in the 77th minute when Rojas' punt is flicked on by Pacheco, and Mahic puts in the game winner as they win 2-1. FC Arizona and Orange County FC, Mo Salama finds John Guzzi, but excellent defending by Edward Morales. OCFC applying pressure, but Andrew Weber makes the save. Later, a chance for FC Arizona as Mejia's shot and Aguilar's header won't find pay dirt. Then Mejia, another shot, and a nice save by Hugo Brandon Gomez. FC Arizona comes this close to the winner, but Aguilar's shot hits the post, and they settle for a scoreless draw. Elsewhere in the West, PDX FC gets 2 goals from Bennett Lehner in their win, and Fernando Cabello scores twice in Riverside Coras' 7-1 win. So that draw meant a key point in the tightly bunched top half of the Southwest Conference. Riverside Coras, off their 7-1 win, is on top with 23 points. FC Arizona now 2 points back, and Orange County FC is 4 points back. In the Golden Gate Conference, we told you CD Aguiluchos has already opened a big lead, but there is a tight battle for second, and the Northwest season is just getting underway with PDX FC and FCM Portland each getting 3 points on Saturday night. So the NPSL season is off and running, and so are we, and we will take you every step of the way until we crown an NPSL champion. Remember, you can get more on the NPSL on Twitter at NPSL Soccer, and you can follow me at pboron88. That's all for this week. We will see you next week right here on This Week in the NPSL.